What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for the recap and results of UFC San Diego. Marlon Chito Vera knocking out Dominic Cruz in the main event. And what a time it was. A lot of great fights, a lot of unexpected results, and I'm just blessed to have made it out profitable on that night. And not just profitable, not just squeaking by, but 8.5 units of profit on the night. I hate to say I told you so, but when you come through with 4 underdogs on the night, I told you so. Gerald Meerschaert coming through and getting that upset that nobody really saw him getting there by submission. His signature move, getting that third round submission. I've been yelling about Priscilla Cachoeira getting this knockout for like 2 weeks now. She came through right after Gerald got his upset, got an upset of her own. Amazing. So the props really were the money makers for me on the night, but the money lines were profitable as well. And also the live betting strategy of choosing Nate Landwehr in between rounds 1 and rounds 2 at very high odds. I'll get into all of that in order, but 13 fights, went 8-4 and 1 draw on the picks. And the first draw was the first money line of the night was Yusuf Zalal, who, looked like he was having success in rounds 1. A little bit less so in round 2 with the wrestling. They were scrambling back and forth, him and Damon Blackshear, which, he looked pretty good, Yusuf Zalal at 135. Damon Blackshear looked in good shape on short notice. But then Yusuf Zalal, his corner told him to strike finally at kickboxing range in round 3. Something he probably should have done from like round 1 or round 2. He made it look quite easy with a 10-8 round, making this a draw after dropping the first 2. So getting a push for the first money line of the night. Kind of knew that it would be an odd, at the time actually that seemed like an odd result. Rewatching that fight this morning, it made perfect sense. So a draw on the first fight, then moving on to, got the Quinlan knockout, but going on the money lines, Ode Osborne was probably my most confident money line of the entire night. And for him to get knocked out like that early on by Tyson Nam, that was just a bad call on my part. I was going off of mostly the statistics that, these fights are going to go over most of the time. These fights will go to decision most of the time. Tyson Nam, very one-dimensional fighter, which I still stand by. But that was mostly a call fading his old age and inactivity. Something I shouldn't have done. I probably should have looked into that one better. It was just a tough read in hindsight. But that was minus 2.25 units on Ode Osborne. So things were not looking great. You get a push in the first fight. You get a, that minus 225 and the most confident fighter of the night in the third fight. I thought it was going to be a pretty terrible night, but things started turning around. But mostly because, again, this is the third winning week for me, and it's the third week that I called off doing parlays. Parlaying fighters together, parlaying big favorites. Something I was doing for a while with some good success, but what got me off of doing that was all of the injuries. When we had the Ortega injury and the Aspinall injury, those cost me so harshly, when it could have been a winning night if I just hadn't parlayed. So I haven't parlayed in 3 weeks, and it's been going very well. So who would have been the parlay busters? It would have been Ode Osborne. It would have been Lupi Godinez. David Onama or Bruno Silva. I saw a lot of people were parlaying those two as well. So those would have been I definitely would have probably parlayed like Martin Budai and Ode Osborne. That probably would have cost me in the night, but luckily I've just been playing moneyline straight. So the Yusuf Zalal push, the Ode Osborne loss. Then we had Martin Budai coming through. I got a unit on that, and that was an absolute gift because I thought this would end somewhere inside the distance with Budai, clinching him up and being very active. Lucas Brzezinski actually looked very good compared to on the Dana White Contender Series. He looked very measured, very patient. And this is kind of a note to myself when I'm looking at these Dana White Contender Series guys making their debut. They might fight entirely differently, Martin Budai is a much bigger test that you have to be more patient and measured against compared to like Dylan Potter on the Dana White Contender Series. I'm sure Lucas Brzezinski knew that he could rush that guy recklessly and probably get him out of there inside the distance. So that might be a future thing I got to pay attention to, that these guys might look quite different from the Contender Series to the actual Octagon. Going in order of the best bets and props, Marlon Chito Vera in the main event, once again called that he was going to, probably just be outstruck in the numbers by Cruz and then slowly accelerate with bigger shots, bigger moments. He got a couple knockdowns in that fight, and then finally a nice, well-timed head kick. He knocked out Cruz in round 4. So that was a minus 230 price tag. I paid to win 1 unit on that. Again, the Martin Budai gift of a unit as well. Nina Nunes is one that I was trying to get talked onto by a lot of my friends in the space. I was trying to say, like, look, man, your money line is climbing up to plus 145. Should I take the stab on it? Everybody said no. But then the morning of the fights, a bet online had it at like plus 167 is what I got it at. And I was just like, there's no way I can't take this shot on Nina Nunes here in a fight that I think is 50-50 at best. A plus 167 price tag would indicate what, like a 37 implied probability, 37% chance that she wins. In a 50-50 fight, in my opinion, I had to take it. So I put a unit on that. And greasy split decision, as a lot of people would have thought, plus 1.67 units there. The other underdog was, I did recommend that if you're a live bettor, which I often am not, that you should live bet Nate Landwehr in between rounds 1 and rounds 2. My actual prediction and what I thought would happen in my crystal ball is David Onama finishes him and knocks him out in round 1. Kind of counters that forward pressure of Nate Landwehr and is able to just tee off on him with something big. But if Nate Landwehr survives that first round flurry, he accelerates into rounds 2 and rounds 3. And Onama might have been gassed in round 1. That was kind of what my strategy would have been if you're live betting this. So I said, look for between like plus 275 and above odds between rounds 1 and rounds 2 on Landwehr and bet that. So I'm actually sitting at the bar with a buddy of mine who doesn't watch fighting, doesn't gamble on this stuff. So I'm kind of just explaining what we're watching. I made the bar manager actually put these on the TV at the bar and turn off whatever football shit was playing. So he does that, and then I'm sitting there telling my buddy, I'm like, look, Nate Landwehr is a monster. David Onama is very talented, but Nate Landwehr, this guy is more experienced. He usually gets better as the fight goes on if he survives. So I said, I told my subscribers, dude, I told them to, live bet this in between rounds 1 and rounds 2. And my friend said, oh, do you ever live bet? I said, usually not, but it's a good opportunity. You could probably triple your money in between rounds here, or and then some. And he says, well, shoot, do you have a bookie that does that? Why don't you do it? And I said, all right, maybe I will. So sure enough, he gets dropped in round 1, destroyed, does Nate Landwehr. And then round 2, I actually had the bookie site open. I was refreshing it. I saw plus 550. So I put a unit on that with the quickness, but it ended up refreshing, as a lot of those sites do when they get all that traffic in between rounds, and it actually dropped it down to plus 300. So, it was still a scary proposition to see somebody who just got their ass kicked in round 1. But knowing Nate Landwehr, he came back and over a gassed opponent in David Onama and was able to destroy him in rounds 2 and 3. One judge called it a draw, but the other 2 saw it for Nate Landwehr. So plus 3 units on that at the 1 unit at plus 300 live. So hopefully people got in on that because that was just a gift of a line in between rounds 1 and rounds 2. A very predictable strategy there. So we got that done, all said and done, plus 4.2 units on the money lines, including that Landwehr play. The props really were an equal money maker as well. I went 4.12 units on on the props, and it was the Josh Quinlan knockout. 2 things were certain in that fight against Jason Witt, right? Jason Witt gets a takedown. Josh Quinlan lands a punch, gets a knockout. So minus 112 on that. I had rebooked that from last week and got plus 1 unit in return on that. So we went, Priscilla Cachoeira was up next. The next prop that I had was plus 625 on Priscilla Cachoeira, quarter unit, plus 1.56 units. I mean, she just went in there early on, man. What did it last, like a minute or so? Let me double check this. Yeah, a minute and 5 seconds, and she had landed a big left hook counter that just pretty much broke the face of Ariane Lipsky early. She backed her up and a flurry of ground and pound strikes, and Herb Dean stopped the fight. So that was very exciting. I did have, in my mind's eye, I thought it was going to happen later on. I thought it would be like an accumulation of damage that eventually Cachoeira would, build up on her over the course of 3 rounds to get that round 3 KO prop at plus 2,000, which I had a quarter unit on, but that's a quarter unit lost. She got it done. I was happy she got it done in round 1 when she did. That was amazing. And it came right after the Gerald Mearshart submission victory at plus 525, another quarter unit play to win 1.3. So, I was just rolling back to back with 2 crystal ball predictions. And I was very confident in Gerald Mearshart to get this done at plus 525 odds. That basically became his money line, right? You would just assume that he's not going to win a decision. He never has won a decision in the UFC, although it was looking like he was about to. the big selling point for me was the fact that Gerald Meerschaert, a lot of people don't know this, but he actually is a striker fundamentally. Trains at Duke. He's always been at Duke Rufus. Very good kickboxing gym. This guy just has a knack for BJJ. They also do have a good BJJ program there. Used to be run by Red Schaefer. I'm not sure who does it now, but Meerschaert very skilled on the ground. That was always it was like a clear striker versus grappler matchup, but was it? He's very good defensively on the feet. Is a southpaw striker, very good body kick you saw land over and over again. Actually, his one KO in the octagon over Eric Spicely was that southpaw body kick that goes right to the liver. So he landed that over and over again, slowed down the movement, frustrated Bruno Silva, and Bruno Silva was just over swinging. It's almost like he believed everybody on Twitter that he could just get an early knockout very early, and he overswung on every single shot for 2 rounds, and then the third round was basically he was just so gassed he was sleepwalking. So Gerald Meerschaert sub comes through. I was very confident he would get that done. I mean, that's just crazy odds on that. So Cachoeira, kind of the same thing. I just figured, she's looking at Lipsky, who doesn't like forward pressure, has lost 2 of her last 3, and now 3 of her last 4 by TKO. So that was just, again, inflated odds on plus 625 for that one. And then I also had parlayed Gerald Meerschaert, Silva fight does not go to decision, with Benitez, Ontiveros fight does not go to decision. Won a unit there at minus 155 odds. I had the Devin Clark by decision at plus 240. Half of a unit I lost on that. Not only did he not get the control time he needed, he got out-controlled himself and then eventually knocked out. So good shit for Azamat Mirzakhanov. I do like the guy. I just figured all of the experience from Devin Clark would have paid dividends. At plus 240, I was willing to take a half unit stab on that prop, and it didn't come through. So out of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different props there. 4 of them came through, plus 4.12 units on that. So yeah, right around 8.5 units of profit. 3rd winning week straight. And it really I just owe it to not only just doing the research and getting good reads and getting very lucky on this card, don't get me wrong, but also just not tying non-correlated fights together, not parlaying, not doing all of this work looking at the money lines and trying to calculate implied probabilities and see if we have an edge over the bookies, only to undo all of that and tie 2 fights together and then have a losing night. It was just happening to me too much this year. So stopped doing that for 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, we got increasing profits. So I'm gonna keep going with this and just just trying to play these straight money lines, high value props, and not really tying them together in parlays. And because I feel like that was really why people did badly on this card. Like again, just tying all of the I'll do that in Bellator, I'll do that in PFL. I'll tie big favorites together because they usually come through. But in the UFC, a little bit tighter matchmaking. You got David Onama shit in the bed. You got Bruno Silva shitting the bed. You got Ode Osborne shitting the bed. Lupi Godinez shitting the bed. And these were all like over minus 300 favorites. So it's just a bad night for that. I can see why it was a bad night for a lot of people. Just knock it off with the parlays and things will get better. So just hit 300 subscribers. I appreciate all of the love and support. You guys are the best. I never thought the channel would grow to this size, but we're going to keep going. This is just the beginning, putting out a lot more content these days, including another live stream on Wednesday. This time it'll be 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern Time. I'm going to have, my guest is the Pickin' Winners YouTube channel. They do very good work. It's a guy named Tom and a guy named Keith. Go check out the Pickin' Winners YouTube channel. They do good work on Sundays. They do their live stream very early in the week, like early on Sundays. They do this during the day. And they go up the upcoming card. Very good, sharp reads and concise picks. You're not there all day listening to them ramble like you do with me sometimes. So I'm going to have Tom on for sure on Wednesday at 8:30 Central Time. I'm not sure if Keith will be able to make it, but he'll let me know later in the week. And hopefully we have it. We make it a 3-way party and have all 3 of us. But if not, I'll have Tom for sure. And yeah, you're really going to like that channel, so go check them out. All right, let me know in the comments how you guys did, if you survived the night. And let me know what some of the better reads were of the night that you had. There were some good opportunities to, again, make some good live betting decisions and capitalize on some props. So, all right, you guys, that's all I have for today. I'll talk to you guys in the next day or 2 for the full card breakdown of the next pay-per-view, Usman versus Edwards 2. Very excited for that one, and I will talk to you guys next time. Cheers.